Hey guys, I'm sure you guys have seen the news about NDC currently facing, this legal tussle with respect to its registration or not registration. And I'm sure, some of you are wondering, where did all of this start from? What are the facts? What are the issues behind it? And I thought, you know what, I'll do a quick explainer to what exactly happened and what has transpired so far. So the story actually starts all the way in 2017. And in 2017, the NDC tried to register the political association at the time. And according to the national secretary, well, the current national secretary of the NDC, the party had actually met, the entire requirements for registration, but he explained that at the time they had an elephant logo, right? So their logo had elephant in it. And what they then found out was that there was an existing party, I think that was the APP, if I'm right, that has elephant currently, even currently, has an elephant in its logo. So they decided to change it to the peace sign, right? The two victory symbol. So what then happened? They submitted the application, and then INEC wrote to them that INEC would not be able to proceed with the registration because their logo, which is the new one they had just changed to the peace sign one, looks a lot like, you know, the APC broom logo. Obviously, I mean, that's taking it too far, right? That's very ridiculous. Or that was a ridiculous excuse or reason not to register a party from the INEC point of view. And to be fair, I mean, so what then happened? NDC then writes back to INEC to say, okay, this cannot be the reason why you ask us, um, you are telling us you would not register the party. At the very worst case scenario, you could just tell us to change the logo, right? Not that this is a reason why, because we've met every single requirement necessary to be registered. But INEC refused, and that case obviously um, continued until more recently, because obviously we saw INEC with a renewed sort of strategy or policy to register political parties ahead of the 2027 elections. In fact, during that process, about 190 political associations submitted interest to register, right? And out of that 190, I think about 40 or 30 something, I don't know the exact figures, to be honest, right? But they were basically screened to like about 40 or 50 of them, and those ones were then asked to basically proceed to applying on the website. And out of those 30s or whatever, about 8 of them went to the next stage, or 7 thereabout. And then at the final registration phase, only one of them succeeded. Only one out of 190 something. So you can see it's such a big margin. So after that, so in this period, obviously, now that NDC realizes that INEC is registering political parties, and they basically, dusted their files, like, oh, we've been in the system, we've met all the requirements by INEC. This flimsy excuse was the reason why they decided not to register us. We are going to proceed to court to, compel INEC to register us. So they went to court, and INEC argued that, in fact, okay, so according to NDC's secretary, right, INEC also then eventually admitted that, you know what, this particular logo actually doesn't look like APC's logo. However, there's a particular party, the Peace Movement Party, PMP, right? They are in current day. There's this particular party has attempted to register with the NDC, with the INEC at some point, and they have the peace sign in their logo, right? So the question is, okay, and so what? Peace Peace Movement Party is not currently registering right now. Peace Movement Party is not part of the 190 people that showed interest that they wanted to register a party. Peace Movement Party is also not one of the 7 screened parties that eventually made it to that stage. Peace Movement Party is not even a registered political party as we speak. So why are you bringing up Peace Movement Party, right? So obviously the court case went on, and the judge at the time, last year December, asked or compelled or mandated or ruled that INEC should register NDC. And that went like that. And NDC started its process, started registering members, got a presidential candidate, not just a small one, a very big, big fish in the political arena of the country, right? Mr. Peter Obi became the um the presidential candidate, right? And now the same court, the same judge, has they come forward to say, you know that my previous ruling, right? It was not constitutional because I had not necessarily prevented, but I had not heard the entire case. The All the parties involved in this matter did not make a case. So therefore, all the rulings I made at the time is null and void. And guess what was that ruling? That the NDC should be registered. So basically, all the rulings at that time is null and void. So the judge then ordered that every interested party, which PMP, like PMP that nobody knew where they were or who they were, have now come forward to say, we this particular judgment you gave is at our own detriment because our logo is literally similar to the logo of the NDC, and we were the first people that attempted to register with the NDC, with the INEC. Apparently, PNP had attempted to register as far back as 2015 with a logo that had the peace sign, and now they are coming back to say this is our logo. It was stolen. Therefore, this particular judgment is unfair, especially to us. So right now, the NDC has rejected this ruling. In fact, they've asked their lawyers to go to the appeal court to block this ruling because, according to them, this judge has no jurisdiction on the matter. They are arguing that the judge cannot come back, months later to say the judgment I gave 5 months ago is wrong. That the best step that PMP could have taken was to go to the Court of Appeal or seek relief, that they want to now be joined in the case, and that would still have to be done at the Court of Appeal. So the NDC believes that this is completely wrong, and this is just a judicial abracadabra. But the question is, what then is the fate of the presidential candidates, the vice presidential candidates, the senators, House of Reps, governors, and every single aspirant that has been given a ticket in the NDC? Second question is, what does INEC do? Does INEC then seek, basically decide not to recognize the NDC again? So how does this play out, considering the fact that there's also a timeline to registration, not even registration, candidate submission and all of that from INEC towards 2027? On the 25th, when this particular ruling came out, was the same day political parties were supposed to collect codes from INEC to upload names of candidates that just names of candidates that won the primaries, the just concluded primaries. So you can imagine. So will INEC still give them this code? So many questions, and this obviously has caused a lot of should I say confusion amongst members, and the party has sort of tried to reassure members that this is not a big deal. Don't panic. We are going to resolve this matter, right? But guys, what do you think? Is this just a judicial overreach? Some people have even called for the arrest of that judge. That this was a nonsense judgment, But what do you guys think? Do you think APC is involved in this? They're like an unseen hand at the in the background trying to shake things up. Who are these PMP people? Where did they come from? Why must we always see these sort of issues prop up? Um, you know, when elections draw close. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Cheers.